Three
One
different
last time.
actors.
Sorry.
Tobey Maguire,
Does this work?
Andrew Garfield,
It's working.
It's working.
Batman.
It's working.
What about Batman? You had Michael Keaton,
No, I'm Batman.
George Clooney. Wasn't he Batman? Val Kilmer. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
All of them. Yep.
R.I.P. Val Kilmer.
Underrated,
R.I.P.
hilarious one though.
Is he not? Yes, is he not?
Val
I thought
Kilmer?
he just died like
think he
not
died.
not too long ago.
Well,
I don't.
I remember
He's on the
seeing-
verge though.
Seeing him
Because
in,
he was in Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah, it
and then
was
like
bad.
shortly after that,
He looked bad. I think he died.
I'm almost positive Val Kilmer's dead.
Death.
He's 64. I thought for certain
Oh
that he
my
had
God,
passed.
He's only
he-
64.
He looks every bit of 100.
Dude, he looks. He does look very old.
But I mean, he
but
does
he's-
have a
Yeah.
terminal illness.
I said Val Kilmer was Little Orphan Annie.
Yes. He
Yeah,
was,
I think
he
so.
was the little orphan Annie with the red hair.
I'm
and
pretty
everything.
sure. Yeah,
in real
yeah,
life.
yeah. I mean, he had a strong background in Broadway.
Could you imagine like Val Kilmer like dancing across the stage?
I can imagine that.
I could imagine somebody rolling him across the stage. I can't really imagine.
What?
Like I'm just saying,
Is he in a wheelchair now?
he looked like he was decaying as we speak in Top Gun Maverick. I cannot imagine that guy doing dancing. Tom Cruise walked in like Iceman, and then he's like,
Tom Cruise does not age,
truly.
and I don't know if it's Scientology or if it's that he makes millions of dollars.
That's for our other podcast.
That's for our other one. Yeah.
Well, we are talking about brainwashing today.
We are.
We are talking about brainwashing today.
Let's get right into it. Wait, camera's over there. Let's get right into it.
Boom.
Do, 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 do. Chris, what's your name?
My name is Chris Mills.
I am Randy Ellis.
And I am TJ Buck.
My favorite part is that you always
Buckster.
ask me what my name is and then say what my name is. At the
Chris,
end
what's
of-
your name?
Well, but they need to know. What does it matter? If
Do we
I
not
don't-
have little caption things that go like below us that
That's
says
too much work.
Yeah,
It's
like
too much work.
intro in a movie.
Most people are listening. They don't care.
Question is what are we doing here? I mean, this is Chris Mills, this is Randy Ellis, this is TJ Buck, but like have we said yet that like we're over the student ministry here?
Yeah, you did. You asked,
Okay.
and in fact, last time you said it.
Yeah, you asked if
You
it was.
asked if
we
we
were
said
supposed
it.
to say tomoka.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything's out in the open. Because if somebody watches this podcast, I want them to feel welcome to come to Tomoka.
Yes, absolutely. We want you to. If you're an adult, don't come to the student ministry unless you want to be
A youth partner.
A youth partner,
Yes.
which is our volunteers, leaders. So.
We are located in Ormond Beach. If you are watching this from the other side of the country, because I know a couple of my friends liked our Instagram post.
Right.
From
Okay.
And Chris's address is it's right here, right next to his social security number and his card info.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like as we start getting traction, we're going to have to do something with Chris, get him some security or something like that, because there's been several people that I know have said that he looks like Matthew McConaughey. And
I
so
have had 4 people tell me that in the last couple months.
I don't know that I would have like said it, but I see it, I suppose.
right, because you don't want to say it because the fear is that this begins to grow so much
Right.
so that
Oh, trust me, my
that this
girlfriend already
podcast isn't
held me accountable.
a
for
large
that.
enough platform for him to be upon.
Yeah.
So
You're more for like Joe Rogan. and up.
that's so funny. Yeah. So what? So this episode, so last episode we talked about AI. I thought that was interesting. This episode, the title, we make whatever title we want, but for me, I just typed in for my notes was I brainwashed as a teenager? Can we get like a dun dun dun? Was I brainwashed as a teenager?
It's not on this thing, so okay.
When I think of brainwashing, I think of so there was a movie I watched in high school. It was during world history, and it was Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Okay.
So it's like it was all talking about like, you know, communist influence and everything. And so-
Commies. Those commies.
Yeah. And so it was like brainwashing in that sense was interesting. But yeah, brainwashing. Was I brainwashed as a teenager? What
Yeah.
about-
Yeah. I mean, when I think of brainwashing, I think of a bucket and then a brain and some suds and a scrub brush.
physical.
That didn't hit, did it? That didn't hit right.
Well, I mean,
It's because I'm a dad. So really, this whole concept is like when we were young, what was the marketing? What was the advertising? What were you learning in school that shaped and molded kind of our view or perception of reality? Like what we think's cool, what we think about ourselves, all those different types of things. And so as I think about that, I have a background in sales, right? Not that I'm proud of it, and not that sales is bad for anybody listening or watching. I just particularly don't like it because I feel like at its core, it's straight up manipulation. There's something that I need to get into the hands of people, and I'm going to say things and do things to make you want to buy it. Mm-hmm. So from that, I think as a kid, I feel like I was, part of marketing, people trying to sell me whatever, like, toys, music, all those different types of things. So that's kind of like the foundation or the basis of this. But we can get into the lobotomy thing. Have you ever
Lobotomy?
Lobotomy. Listen. Everybody's face was like, "What the heck? We're not talking about that, dude. That's for another episode."
But I mean, I like sometimes I like space in and out. I felt like I missed a piece.
Lobotomy.
No pun intended.
Like lobotomy does sound like some type of plastic surgery, but it's not. But you were talking about like body snatchers or whatever.
Oh,
like
yeah,
that,
yeah.
And like communism and all this types of stuff. Like a lobotomy literally is where they go in, they scramble your brain. Do your research, Google lobotomy, and they literally. I'll do it right now while we're talking.
I'll do it.
But it's
We got the fact checker.
TJ will do it. So lobotomy, they utilized it for people who were like struggling with psychiatric problems and things like that. And they would go in and pretty much scramble their brain to try to help the pain of what they're dealing with on a mental basis. And like they would utilize that as.
So do you like forget stuff when you?
Bro, I don't know the ins and outs of it.
Yeah.
But that is basically the gist
more
of it.
Information about this. This is interesting.
I want to say one of our the Kennedys or something like that. One of the female Kennedys actually had this done, and it's like what? It's literally like I don't know. Anyway,
TJ's intensely reading over there.
He's intensely reading.
Rosemary Kennedy, sister of U.S. President John F. Kennedy, underwent a lobotomy in 1941 that left her incapacitated and institutionalized for the rest of her life.
Boom. There you
go. Okay. So I don't think we normally want to get a lobotomy.
No, we don't want to get a lobotomy.
I feel like this is
But it's been used, if I'm not mistaken, it's been used in warfare, like to manipulate people's minds or to get them to forget stuff because they had certain information.
Oh wow! So it's like the flash thing from Men in Black.
There you go,
the flash,
bro.
pen.
That is it right there.
That is brainwashing right there.
That dude, who would not want to have that?
Oh, that'd
right?
be genius. Anything you do embarrassing. Hey, come here real quick. Hold on. Just bing, done. Boom.
That'd be great.
Yeah,
man. Take the fear out of making yourself sound like a fool. TJ is intense right now.
Well, because I'm trying to figure out what they actually do.
Yeah,
like it kind of just says it's a surgery.
But I mean, like, just to think that like there's a legit surgery that is done like that messed somebody up, but they used it. It was okay for them to use.
I feel like it's like a last effort.
I'm sure it is. But I mean, come on. Like all throughout history, there has been this war against our minds and like manipulation of our mind, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, look at Hitler. Hitler was a bad dude, evil dude. But the thought process in his warfare was genius. Right? Because it was to manipulate and use propaganda and all these different things. It was to manipulate the children at a young form so that when they grew up, like they were all like, Hail Hitler or whatever you do thing. Right?
I'm gonna clip the just
Nobody's with me on this one. I'm just off in left field. I'm all in.
Hail Hitler! No one's with me. That's what I'm clipping from this.
So yeah. So anyway,
yeah, I definitely think of brainwashing in terms of advertising. You know, growing up, I think a lot of the advertising also has like a lot of cultural feel. So I think depending on where you're at, like advertising looks a lot different. And you kind of saw a shift in the 2010s, I would say. So Super Bowls have obviously the most popular commercials on the planet. Most expensive.
Super Bowl?
Super Bowl.
Oh, Super Bowl.
Football?
But you said Super Bowls. I'm like, okay.
Well, Super
Who are
Bowls,
Super Bowls?
plural. Yeah. But Super Bowls have
ULLS Bulls, like with horns.
The Super Bowls.
The Super Bowls. I feel like the Super Bowls were in the early '90s with Jordan and Pippen and Rodman.
They were some Super Bowls. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, sorry.
Anyways, but the Super Bowls have the most notorious advertisements in the world because one of how expensive they are, and two because of how many people are watching. Right. Mm-hmm. But in the 2010s, I think there was a lot of a shift between. Let's make a commercial that's really funny, that's really like memorable, right? What was the one that it was either Doritos or Mountain Dew did? It was like Puppy Monkey Baby. You remember that one?
Puppy Monkey Baby.
It was like you got to look it up now. There's a whole like jingle. It's like Puppy Monkey Baby.
I don't
Puppy
remember
Monkey
that
Baby.
one.
Anyways, but you had like those like really goofy, like funny ones. And then I thought that there was a shift that you can notice where it was like appealing to the pathos side, right? Like the emotion. It's like the Budweiser commercials with like the dog that runs back home to, the soldier that just got back home or something like that.
I see what you're saying.
So I think there was a
plays
shift
on your emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
TJ's watching Puppy Monkey Baby.
I didn't want to make the sound come out, but this is what Mountain Dew presented in time for Super Bowl 50. Its very own unique definition of three awesome things combined. Enter the Puppy Monkey Baby. Three friends who plan to just chill on the couch for one night get an unexpected surprise. An actual puppy monkey baby. A creature with the legs of a baby, the tail of a monkey, and the head of a puppy. Marches in with a bucket of Mountain Dew Kickstart Midnight Grape and dances to its own catchy song. There is not a liquid on this earth I would rather drink less than Dr. Dew. Mountain Dew Kickstart Midnight Grape. I hate grape flavored anything, and Mountain Dew Kickstart is not that good to begin with.
Dr. Dew's like when you go to Walmart or something and you go to get Mountain Dew.
It's the great value brand.
And then they have Mountain Pepper or something like that.
Well, but those sodas are so good. Can we talk about that for a sec?
They get the job done.
The off-brand, like I would call them youth group sodas. Like hey, go to Walmart and get.
That's valid.
There's Mountain Lightning. Is what it is.
Yep.
There's is it Dr. Thunder?
Dr. Thunder, I do believe.
Dr. Thunder is a thing. Yeah.
Yeah, just cola.
That's cola.
Good. Yeah, cola.
But like, man, those are the best.
I disagree. But that is funny. That is funny that he said that's the youth soda. Budgets, pizza and off-brand soda.
Yep.
But no, so I hear what you're saying as far as like their focus shifting to the more emotional, playing on our emotions. Mm-hmm. For certain things, but I feel like they do a really good job of like balancing that out because like how many people know like Limu Emu for what is it?
No,
Liberty
dude,
Mutual?
those ones are awesome. Yeah,
dude, like who cares? I don't have Liberty Mutual as insurance, but like I will always and forever remember their
Liberty Bibbity.
Yeah,
I might think it's funny if it wasn't every third commercial on NASCAR. So annoying,
but. I think whether it's something funny, catchy that makes us remember, or whether it is like playing into our emotions, reality is it is a manipulation of some sort. Would you guys agree with that?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Right? I think like for me, like I did this research, before we did this, I wanted to see what the actual definition of brainwashing was. And it's a process of pressuring someone into adopting radically different beliefs by using systematic and often forcible means. So, often by forcible means, but there is this pressuring and this use of systematic breaking down of what your belief is.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like marketing, I keep hitting this. I feel like marketing does does this in a sense. You have a company that has a product that really wants it to get out to the general public. So they go to a marketing company and they come up with a clever commercial, song, whatever, to make us think as a consumer that we either need this product or our life will be better with this product. Essentially manipulating us into thinking that life cannot be complete without fill in the blank. Right?
Right. I think that happens on Instagram all the time now, just because, and I'm sure it does it on TikTok too, but the algorithms, right? If you tap on something for a little bit longer than you might normally, right? It knows that you're more interested in that thing, right? And so you're going to start seeing advertisements, and we obviously have the tracking from our browsers over into social media and stuff too. But I think that it kind of follows us along, as what we keep seeing over and over is something that we start to accept, right? In most scenarios, I think.
The evolution of it too, from last week I was talking about those 2000s commercials that we were watching.
Oh yeah, like Zoo Pals and
and all that. I feel like it was out of necessity that those commercials had to change. Like the call now, that whole vibe isn't working anymore. Clearly, and then once that changed, now the ads are just delivered straight to your eyeballs.
Yeah. Well, there's not a need for commercials as much. I mean, there are, ads on Disney Plus if you have certain subscriptions, but I wouldn't say TV is as popular as it was when we were younger,
right.
Because, you go to streaming services more often than you go to cable, I think is more common.
Even in games too, though. It's instead of charging for a game, you make it free and then load it with ads.
Yeah.
Or
we can
talk about
phone games, right?
And EA, Call of Duty, looking at you.
The DLCs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I'm gonna derail us just for a sec.
Oh no. Here we go.
I got NAD yesterday. I guess I'm not derailing us. It was an ad, so boom.
Okay. Yeah. There we go.
I got an ad yesterday, targeted just for me. It was in the new Call of Duty. There's new skins of WWE wrestlers.
Wow.
You can play as Cody Rhodes, I think Rhea Ripley, and Rey Mysterio.
Wow.
Rey Mysterio.
And I was like, well, that's not fair. If you're Rey Mysterio, you've got a tiny little hitbox. no one's gonna be able to shoot you. And you're
That's
fast.
crazy.
Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah.
That
I would spend my money on that.
See?
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
It got me.
Advertising.
Got you.
Yep.
Done. Did you know that there's actually it's called neuro marketing? They're literally using neuroscience to target companies' consumers. So they'll go in, they'll actually do testing through MRIs. They have monitors that they'll actually wear on their head to see certain smells, certain sights, certain colors and things like this that activate certain parts of your brain when you see them. That plays into the emotional side of things. It's crazy. You can do a quick search on neuromarketing and there's a lot of stuff that will pop up. But there was this one particular documentary that was done, I think in France, that followed some researchers and some journalists was diving into, I guess it was McDonald's, was utilizing this neuromarketing strategy. And apparently it was a big deal. Right. But they were literally testing scents because they had people complaining about how it smelled when they would walk into their restaurant. And so they would actually take certain scents and like have people like hooked up to all these monitors. They would smell it and see which one was the most favorable, right? And then it would pipe it through their air ducts, right? Well, apparently that was bad, or the executives didn't like that to pipe it through, so they put it in their cleaning supplies, and they saw an uptick in favorable ratings, comments, things like that. So like crazy stuff, right? Think about McDonald's in general, okay? Everybody likes to eat at McDonald's at some point, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody's like, man, I just craving some McDonald's French fries, right? Mm-hmm.
Nuggies.
Yeah, but like in that particular document or the documentary, they were talking about how like it was in documentation that like the Ray Kroc is his name, right?
Yeah,
said that his whole goal was to reach children. And that's why you got like the crappy toy that comes into the Happy Meal, because it drew like kids in, because they were like, Mommy, Daddy, I want to go to McDonald's, and, they did like even interviews on the street. Like, why do you go to McDonald's? And they were like, well, because my kids want to. And so they knew that if they could get the kid in, start eating their food, there was this loyalty to the brand, and they would have them for a lifetime. I'm a product of that. Like, I loved going to McDonald's and getting a Happy Meal. Why? Because there was a toy involved, even though it's crap.
And they had the GameCube set up.
Oh, dude.
What?
Oh, I know. Yeah, it was like when they had the playhouses at the McDonald's still.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Yeah, they at some of them they would have it was like a GameCube like screen, and it had the controller and everything.
What?
Dude, it was baller. Yeah, you had like Mario and stuff on there usually.
That was the first time I ever played Double Dash.
Where were these McDonald's?
Ormond's, right here.
There, well, I did
not.
here. But when I traveled
if I got
places,
like a playground,
you could find them. Yeah.
Also, I was trying to look up this article about
neuromarketing,
and I got this giant ad that took up the whole screen. So, so no more of that.
You're welcome.
Nice.
If you want more research for your neuromarketing, that's not the way to go.
Got it.
That.
So going to brainwashing, right? A couple questions. So first one, where do we know we stand as Christians with brainwashing, right? Like in terms of the world, right? How do we respond to the world's brainwashing of what becomes normal, becomes the culture almost, right? And then two, how do we know that being Christian is not brainwashing, right? Because some people that will deconstruct their faith will be like, oh, I was brainwashed as a teenager, right? They fed me all these lies. How do we know that what we believe is true is the truth?
That's a good question. Wow, that's deep, man. I feel like we need to ponder.
Wait, do people still ponder?
Not again.
Wait, did we talk about that last time?
Yes.
You said, wait, do people still ponder? I think people ponder.
Okay.
But, yeah, the better part, right? My job here is quite literally to market the church.
Yeah.
And also market things to people within the church. Every time you guys have an event, I make a funny little poster or a slide or a video, or we make commercials,
right?
Essentially,
right.
And it's like, is that manipulating or is that informing? And like, I think there's a fine line there, and I think we stay well on the side of informing / just making stuff that is funny.
Yeah, and I think like when we get to a certain level with events and different things, right? It's that concept of you're in the world, not of it, right? Yeah, there's scripture that tells us about that. But we're called to be living to a higher standard, and we live in this world that is destined to our bodies end up in a grave, right? But our hope is in eternity, and I think that's what it comes down to at the end of the day for that first one, though. But, yeah.
Preach. But so your first question was what? I don't remember.
How do we handle the brainwashing of how culture affects us? Yeah. In the midst of being a Christian?
It's good. I would say, actually, you probably have to answer the second question before you answer the first question.
Ooh, yeah.
Because if you feel like you've been manipulated all your life, then what is your faith based on? Is it truly based on faith in Jesus, that he is real, that he did do what he said he came to earth to do and fulfilled that? Mm-hmm. Or is it based on an emotional experience that you've been experiencing all your life? Because at the end of the day, if you believe you've been manipulated, then there is no foundation to your faith.
Right.
So I don't know.
Yeah. And I think also kind of with that, like, you know, the manipulation, whatever you want to call it, you have to go through hard things to be able to experience what it means to have a faith, right? It's not like, you know, we do not believe in a gospel that tells you like your life is going to be easy if you follow Jesus Christ, right? The epistles make it very clear that you are going to be persecuted if you choose to follow Christ. And I think that's what it comes down to at the end of the day, is when we choose to follow Christ, it's neglecting basically what the world has to say and choosing what the path is that Christ has set for us instead.
Yeah. So background for me, like I was that person. And again, no disrespect to my mentors and people in my life that truly helped form my faith in Christ and guided me along. But seriously, like growing up in certain circles of the church, it was portrayed that my decision to follow Jesus helped me avoid certain heartaches and pains in my life. If I was doing the right things and I was being a good little Christian and reading my Bible and raising my hands during worship, like I could fend off any kind of evil attacks that was coming against me. And that's kind of a lot of the circles that I grew up in. Like that's how it was portrayed. Now, do I think that they were doing that consciously? Like, oh,
that was a really good maniacal laugh,
bro.
I'll give you that, man.
Anybody watching that's, needs some like animated voiceovers, I got you. But anyway, so like, I don't think that they were doing it consciously, but I do believe that, it was something that they felt. And as I got older and I experienced hard things, that was a real problem for me in my faith, because I was thinking like, okay, I've grown up thinking that if I did this, then this, and now all of a sudden that's been flipped up on its head because I'm still doing this, the right things, right? Works. And I'm not seeing the result that I'm protected and kept safe and no harm is coming near me and all that stuff like that. And so it was like, God, are you even real? Like, why are you allowing this to happen to me?
Yeah.
And I think it's a super important thing to understand that, like, our faith in Christ does not remove us from bad things happening. Right.
And let me stop you here. I feel like a problem is that a lot of people stop there.
Yeah.
Like they're like, God, why are you letting this happen to me? And then, well, I guess that means you're not real. And then they just ditch it forever.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, again, it goes back to, I thought because I was a Christian, everything was going to be Skittles and rainbows, as my old youth pastor would say.
Skittles and rainbows. Good. Puppy dogs, kitty cats, Skittles, rainbows.
I think the way you should the way that we should look at it is if we choose to follow Christ, the enemy is only going to want to attack us more, right? Because he wants to separate the body from the church as much as he can. And if he sees someone that's finding this joy in Christ and in their faith, if they can put something bad on us, that only makes the job easier for them. And I think we are taught through the scriptures that Christ is always with us. He's for us and he's not against us, right? And no matter the circumstance, though, right? So.
Yeah, no, that's good. Back to what you were saying, like there are people that have walked away from faith and actually is now speaking against it because of what they've had happen to them inside the church, whether that was from hurt from people, whether that was from a traumatic thing that happened in their life that they just felt like God wasn't there. So they're just like, whatever. And they look at it and go like, oh, I was just being brainwashed, or, oh, I was just being manipulated to further the cause. And really I think when it comes down to it, it's what is being spoken as far as from the pastors and the leaders, but also what is that individual owning on their own? Because I know something Pastor Joe says all the time is like, don't just take my word for it, check it in the Bible. Right. And so like, why is it that a lot of people that we see come into the church, church meaning the community, not the building, but like they come into this community and they don't read their Bibles. And so they're almost ignorant to the scriptures that do say, like, simply because you identify with me, Jesus speaking, like, you will be persecuted. Like, okay, like, of course, I'm going to deal with bad things. That's obviously speaking about them speaking out of their faith and so on and so forth. But reality is we're not kept from that. So, like, what is it where's the disconnect for someone that's like coming to Christ and not pursuing like their personal relationship, I guess, maybe. I wonder why that's such a difficult thing.
I think, and it's kind of popular nowadays. People will say it's not your parents' faith, right? It's not your grandparents' faith. It's your own faith,
right?
And that's something that every single person, and when they go through hard things, when they get through high school, you start becoming an adult, that early adulthood, right? You start having to deal with harder things, right? And that's where it comes down to, is this your faith, or is this something that your mom took you to church every single week and you had to be there, essentially, right? Yeah. You might have heard a lot of good things, right? And you can go up to a lot of people that don't go to church at all, but they went to kids' church or youth group all the time, and they know all these different Bible verses memorized. And so just because you have something memorized doesn't mean that you have a relationship with God. And I think that's so important, because in this day and age, the culture is going to tell us one thing, and you're going to have to deal with these hard things. But where is your faith? Is it on the firm foundation that is in Christ?
Ooh, firm foundation.
Come on.
Firm foundation.
Dude, I was talking about this. With my girlfriend last Saturday.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? He has a girlfriend.
I do have a girlfriend.
Just wanted to put that out there.
Not available.
Matthew McConaughey, not available.
Nope. But we were singing a hymn in the small groups thing, and I had no idea what it was. It came out long before I was alive. But I was like, dude, 40 years from now, this is gonna be how firm foundation is for us. We're like, this is like firm foundation is on top of the best songs.
Okay, so we're talking about a song right now.
Oh yes,
firm
sorry.
Foundation.
Yes.
Cody Carnes.
Cody Carnes. Yes. But the song itself, like 40 years from now, like I'm like, oh, that is the best. And then there's gonna be like kids that don't even know what it is. Mm-hmm. I'm like,
bro, I already experienced that today. It's like there's references that I will make, and like students will look at me like, huh?
We already had that happen last week.
Like, you don't know who this is? I remember when I very first started in youth ministry, and like, I'm sitting here making references to Marty McFly. Hello, McFly. And they were like,
oof.
What?
That's rough.
Like, you don't know what Back to the Future?
You haven't seen Back to the Future?
So this might be a new segment here on the Journeyland podcast called "What Movies Hasn't TJ Seen?"
Dude, that
is on the list of movies I probably should have watched, but
that's like American history, basically.
It's a documentary. Here's what I know.
Dude, DeLoreans, they're actually time machines.
Here's what I know about the movie. So, spoiler alert, Back to the Future just came out. Don't worry about it.
It just came. If it's a spoiler alert, you're in trouble. Go watch it. It's your fault.
So, man with grandpa go back in time. Car needs to go 88 miles an hour to go back in time. It doesn't go that fast until something happens. I don't know what happens, but then it does, and then they go back in time.
There's a lot of plot points missing, but there's something in there.
Oh man!
Man finds.
It's also not his grandpa, but
my heart is hurting right now. Doc Brown was not Marty McFly's grandpa.
It looks like it. Man, that might be Rick and Morty.
It really, when we start to look at it, though, it is kind of creepy. He did have a very close relationship with an old man that was not his family.
Yeah, well, yeah. So yell at him, not me. Anyways, he finds a woman, ends up having some sort of relationship with that woman.
Who finds a woman?
Main character. What's his name?
Marty McFly.
Marty. Yeah.
Marty McFly. Yeah, and Doc Brown would
Sure,
be the weird scientist guy.
Her too. And
Her too.
But okay.
Morty.
not
Where
Morty.
is this going?
Not Morty. Marty.
Lady,
Morty.
and then like they go back to regular time, and that's his mom and something.
Ouch.
That's what I remember. That's what I know about it.
This hurts.
Just from outside.
Dang.
This hurts. I feel like we're gonna have to do a trilogy watching. So, yeah, there's a lot of holes in that, and maybe we'll utilize that as an actual episode because there's just so much that we could dive into right now that just hurts my heart.
Yeah, there's a lot of movies I have not seen, and I get
Dang.
flack for it pretty much in every circle.
That came from talking about like growing up, like you were saying, like Firm Foundation, the song that's current is going to be like what we know as hymns.
Yeah.
I feel like Nick Swardson, he played on like Bench Warmers, a lot of the David
Gotcha.
Spade and Rob Schneider and all those. So he did a whole episode on like, just classic music. Like he was talking about like his grandma, how she plays like records, like vinyls, and it has some good beats. And he's talking about like, when he's older in that way, like he's going to be talking to his grandchildren and like, do you remember Snoop Dogg?
No
Listen
way.
to this.
Well, but think about it though. Do you remember being like, in like 2005 or whatever, and then like, well, I guess Chris, like, would you remember like listening to 80s music like when Chris was born? Sorry, you're Chris. When Randy was born, like.
Do I remember listening to 80s music
In like 2005?
in 2005?
Like, man, like this is old.
This is stupid.
I don't think I really listened to 80s music in 2005
Well,
though.
but like you were in a car and like
I was like 5.
yeah, but like like if you'd be like in the car and your parents would be listening to the radio and like
We had Spirit 105.3 in the car. Okay, this is
okay.
it's basically K-Love.
So you're an anomaly. I'm saying any like Bon Jovi 80s rock, like Van Halen, anything roughly around that.
It's
vibe.
marked in history.
Yeah, but my point is like any song that came out in like 2005 we're the same distance away from that now. So like
True.
that is our 80s.
Yeah.
True.
Like
Yeah, we're closer to 2040 than we are to 2000.
Yeah. That's nuts.
Mm-hmm.
That's
and like we always think of 80 like the 80s is 20 years ago. It's 40 years ago.
Yeah.
yeah. So really it goes back to like the music you listen to, the things that you wear, like the clothing, like back then was it that we genuinely liked these things, or was it because we were made to believe that this was cool, like this is what you had to have?
Exactly. Like clout goggles. Do you remember clout goggles?
Clout goggles?
I need help. Are we talking about
They're like
Pit
the white ones that like Migos wore.
Oh, all right.
Clout goggles. Migos?
Migos.
What's Migos?
That's a
Migos is a rap trio.
Migos?
duo now, but
Oh,
Were
yeah.
they like
Rest in
the
peace.
three
Rest in peace, Takeoff.
amigos? Like, is it based off the three amigos? Like, amigos, just Migos?
I
Just
think
Migos.
they are Spanish, right? Or
No, they're African American.
Are they?
If we're talking about groups, there's only
But yeah, like
Backstreet Boys,
dude,
New Kids on the Block.
I had to make. What is he laughing at now?
Well, yeah. What was I thinking of?
Migos?
I saw Lawrenceville, Georgia, and I said, "Oh, well, they're probably not Spanish." Anyways, continue.
No, so yeah, like so. What I don't remember them, so please enlighten me.
Oh, they were like these goggles. They were. Does he have a picture? Can you look up a picture of clout
Yeah, I
goggles?
looked up the Migos first.
They're like white
the Migos,
and they're like really big.
Okay.
Oh,
like a steampunk type look.
nah. I've seen Seth Rollins wear these.
Yeah, he definitely would. See, yeah,
Okay, so there's
just, like,
like
overkill.
sunglasses.
yeah,
for
but
the
they're
people.
like cool looking, I guess.
Yeah,
But like
that's what
those
some
had a
people would say. Go ahead.
at the time, they were culturally relevant.
Gotcha.
Uh,
And why? Because some popular person,
Mm-hmm.
some rap artist or movie star wore them, and everybody was like, "Oh my gosh!" so and so wore them, so because I wear them now, I'm super popular and liked. And
well, yeah, because if enough people tell you that,
Seth Rollins wearing them.
Okay.
there it is. If enough people tell you something is cool,
okay,
won't you want to do it too, right? And I think the same can apply to our faith, right?
well, that's what I was going to ask. So why don't we have more people coming to faith? Hey, Jesus is cool. Jesus is cool. Jesus is cool.
Because I think it's because of what comes with it, right? It's a lot of things that are not cool, right? It's
It's hard.
Also, you got 10% of people saying Jesus is cool, but then at the 90% of people saying, marijuana's cool.
Right.
Exactly,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
You have to deny the flesh to be able to follow Christ and take up your cross. And that's the part that makes it uncool, unfortunately. It's, as much as we know how much the joy that the peace that surpasses all understanding comes from following Christ, we know that there is a denying of flesh.
Denying of flesh.
Can I bring up a possible elephant in the room?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
How do we feel about modern day worship and it's like from a brainwashy standpoint?
I feel like that's for the next episode.
Is it?
We do have
I
an
think-
episode coming up on the outline that speaks into the music side of things.
Okay.
It is an important topic, though.
I agree.
Worship is very, very hot right now.
Yeah, I just I've heard people say like, there's a few posts out there where it's like, I used to go to church and I thought that I was having like this worshipful experience,
Mhm.
and then I went to a secular concert and I felt the same way, and I realized it wasn't God I was feeling, it was live music. So
Yeah. No, I mean, that's legit. I do. I think that'll be a really good episode. As far as the brainwashing thing, I don't exactly know if we've actually answered this question or not, to be quite honest.
Was I brainwashed as a teenager? I think the answer is no. But
But I'll say this. I don't know that I was brainwashed, but I was most certainly manipulated. But I feel like we all
yeah,
have some form of manipulation that has happened in our lives through advertising, marketing, peer pressure, things like that. And so, I mean, I feel like,
yeah. I was gonna say like the only way that you could avoid it is if you isolate yourself. But even if you do that, like you'd have to remove screens from everything, because if you have a screen, you will somehow get brainwashed. Because like COVID, we did not have interaction with other people, and there was still brainwashing that was happening.
Oh, yeah.
Brainwashing.
well, like e-commerce, social media marketing, all that stuff like that. It's just crazy. This you said isolate yourself. What do you guys feel about monks, right? Okay, so like I know that like there's these monks that experience this supernatural whatever, like, because they're able to meditate. But to me, I'm thinking like that's please do not crucify me for this. But I feel like that's almost like cheap in a sense, because Christianity to me is going through life and resting on God for your strength, for your peace, for all these things. And if I'm isolated, what am I battling?
Well, and I think it's like the body of believers too, right? If I'm isolated from other people that can help me, how are they supposed to help me? Like, yes, put your whole trust in God. It tells us to love God with all our strength, mind, soul, strength, heart, right? But with that, it's always to love your neighbor as yourself. And I think because you have to have those two together, that's why we're called to community in the church.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess that's my thing. Again, nothing against monks, nothing against that. It's just a matter of like, when I think about that, I think like, well, honestly, if I was separated, I had no technology, I had no job, I had no whatever. And I literally just sat and I meditated and I did like manual labor things like during the day. Like, I feel like I could probably feel better and be more connected to God through hearing his voice and things like that too. But if I'm again in society, in reality, like I am dealing with a bunch of different conflicts with people, conflicts with, should I do this? Should I not? Like my job, like, whatever it is you do for a profession.
It also almost makes like your faith easy, right? Like there's no reason to defend your faith if you're by yourself, right? Yeah. And I think you have to be able to take a stand and stand up for your faith as well.
Huh. Yeah.
I was recently going through it, and I posted a Snapchat story, quite whiny one, about I'm probably going to isolate myself from people here in a sec because I had some introspection to do, yada yada yada, whiny stuff. And then my good friend David used to intern here. He messaged me and said, "Hey," he sent me like an actual Bible verse. I don't have my phone on me. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was basically somewhere in the Bible. It says, don't isolate yourself. Maybe isolating myself isn't the move. And and of course, because God is the way He is, my friend who almost never talks serious, like it's a very, I would call him one of my best friends, but we never just have like those serious talks. He saw the Snapchat story. He texted me and said, "Hey, just so you know, if you ever need anything, I'm here. Like, don't let my strange personality get in the way of." Those were his words.
Nice.
He was like, we I know we don't always talk like serious or whatever, but if you need to talk, I'm here. And I was like, man, like isolating myself was the wrong move. And I think that you would be surprised if you needed help what your friends would do for you. Like, even if you have friends where, it's just constant jokes all the time. I dare you to go up to one of them and say that you need to talk for real and see what happens.
Yeah. No, for sure.
If they make fun of you, then that's not your real friend.
Exact. Boom.
Come on.
Drop the mic, walk away.
It's on a stand. I can't really drop it. I'll just push it over.
He's just going to throw it.
Just throw it. Just start throwing stuff. But no, that's good. I mean, I think being able to have that community around you is so important, because if you really look at it from the very foundation of creation, we were created for community. I mean, God creates human.
Right? It was not good for man to be alone.
And then He creates man and says, "Hey, it's not good for you to be alone," which I completely understand what He's talking about. Like if it were just dudes running around, first and foremost, we know that there would be no procreation. But the other thing would be that I feel like they would burn down the garden. Yeah. At what point did He just figure out, oh my gosh, I just figured out fire? And then like, how can I make this bigger? And the next thing you know, the things, because that's what I do. I'm like, okay, how can I do this bigger? It would just
be like dude upon dude, like benching tree limbs, like how much can you bench? Oh, I can bench this much.
The world is just a man cave.
Yeah. it'd be the quickest society to ever exist. Yeah, like they would have died really, really quick.
Yeah, they would just be like genetics. Like babies are. Well, I guess babies wouldn't be born, but if they were, they'd be like born with like broken bones, like because everyone's just playing football all the time. And they invented football.
Yeah.
All right, we're pushing 50 minutes here.
Oh man, we're pushing 50 minutes.
Cruising.
We got to cut this thing,
and that's not including all the nonsense at the beginning.
Okay.
Oh,
all right. Well, I don't know. Do you feel like we answered this question in somewhat of a?
I think we did.
A roundabout way.
Okay. Yeah.
We discussed how brainwashing is around the culture.
I do think, because I feel like our answer ended up kind of just being no, but like I do think it's important to realize that
there was influence somehow on all of us.
That there are people that the answer is yes. Like, Like I feel like most of the people, like when I think of like the general population and like what they're doing, saying, posting, I'm like, man.
Yeah.
The horse meme, just me stare. Have you seen the horse meme where it's like a horse staring out into the ocean, just saying, "Man."
So I would say this. So I'd say like, a good question would be what you were talking about. Your questions about brainwashing. You had two questions.
Was it the first one or the second one?
Is the second one. What was the second one?
How do we know Christianity is not brainwashing?
I'd like to know everybody else's comments on that. I would like to know like what you guys think as far as listeners. Oh my word!
This is me looking at the rest.
For those not watching the video, TJ has showed us a meme of a horse literally on a beach just staring at the ocean. The only caption it says is "man."
But yeah, So I would just say I would like to know everybody else's thoughts in
Yeah.
regards to that question. Comments.
Yeah.
Because right now we've
Drop it
got
in the
comments
comments.
about cheese and bread.
Cheese on bread.
Which
Cheese on bread.
that may end up making it on a T-shirt or a hat or something. So
Hey, our Journeyland logo is black and yellow too. It
is,
makes
too.
for a good cheesy logo.
all right,
Cheese on bread.
I'm done.
Cool. Let's do it. Thanks, guys. See you next time.
Peace. Oh, wait. We're not done. Come here.
He's like, I don't know that I want to be a part of this.
I take the recording light very seriously.
Well, that's good.
Yes.
That's okay.
That's good. I did not. I saw it flashing and I looked in and I observed and I thought, you know what? It's probably just on.
I can't even really speak until that light comes on.
Joe, you want to?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm here to talk about Italy.
Well, thanks for joining us.
We have to talk about Italy. We'll see you.